Hey there. So, you know how whenever I mention that I have an electric car, people always ask me about range anxiety? It's like the number one topic. But honestly, most of the time, I don't really stress about it. Sure, if I were planning a road trip through the Scottish Highlands or something, I might feel a twinge of worry, but for my everyday driving, it's not an issue. I just charge my car overnight at home, and since most of my trips are shorter than 300 miles, I'm good to go. And guess what? I'm not alone. Turns out, according to the government, the vast majority of car journeys in England are less than 100 miles. So, if you can charge up at home, you're pretty much set. That's probably why a whopping 93% of EV owners in the UK have home charging set up. But here's the thing, not everyone is as lucky. Some folks live in apartments or urban areas without driveways. For them, relying on public charging points can be a bit of a gamble, especially since the infrastructure isn't quite there yet. And let's be real, range anxiety is a real buzzkill for potential EV buyers. It's like, until there are charging points everywhere you look, people are going to be hesitant to make the switch. Cost is another factor putting a damper on things. New electric cars can be pricier than their gas-guzzling counterparts, and the second-hand market for EVs is still kinda small. But hey, that's changing. Experts predict that soon. Most EV purchases will be second-hand, and prices will be more comparable to traditional cars. So, EVs won't be so out of reach anymore, which is good news for the planet, but maybe not so great for the government's tax revenue. Speaking of taxes, did you know that EVs currently get a pretty sweet deal? They're exempt from certain taxes and are way more tax efficient for companies. But as EVs become more mainstream, that free ride might come to an end. Plus, there's the whole issue of how switching to EVs will affect all the industries built around traditional cars, like garages and filling stations. Oh, and here's a juicy tidbit. There's a bit of a showdown brewing between the EU and China over EVs. China's been flooding Europe with electric cars, and it's got some folks feeling uneasy. Like, are they selling them too cheap? Could be. And if the EU decides to slap tariffs on Chinese EVs, things could get messy, especially since China pretty much controls the supply chain for the batteries we need in our EVs. So yeah, the future of electric cars is looking bright, but it's not without its challenges. But hey, with a little bit of planning and cooperation, we'll get there. And who knows, maybe soon we'll all be zipping around in electric cars, feeling good about saving the planet and all that jazz. Happy driving.